La 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 la.
Look at this. Sap buckets hanging on the sugar maples deep in the thick woods. You can hear the drips hitting the metal. Is this Vermont?
Mom, there's no sap in this room.
And look at this. Hundreds, maybe thousands by day's end, lots of people traipsing through the woods. City folk, I'll bet.
But there are bugs in there.
Traipsing through the thick woods gladly to see those sap buckets hanging on the sugar maples deep in the woods.
There's a bug in there.
Got to be Vermont.
Well, we are 11 days into our sugaring season this year at Rockwoods, and it's been an excellent season already because we've been so warm.
Rockwoods Reservation in Wildwood. You knew it wasn't Vermont.
We're after that liquid gold.
These are maple sugar days at Rockwoods, and that liquid gold isn't gold at all. It's clear.
The sap, it's just, you just taste a little tiny bit of sweetness. It's not very sweet.
Maple sugar days are dedicated, not surprisingly, to the history and art and science and wait till almost forever labor of turning that sap into maple sugar and syrup. Let's start with the sugar. After all, that's what Native Americans made for generations.
The colonists.
And when those sweet-toothed newcomers came west, they wanted it.
This didn't have a precise value. This didn't have a precise value. They traded.
Those newcomers had big metal kettles to put the sap to boiling. That was a big advantage over the Native Americans. But they still got the sugar. It wasn't doled out of Rubbermaid containers, but it was just as tasty.
Oh my gosh.
How's it taste?
It's a cloudy, damp, foggy morning at Rockwoods, not the kind of snowy, wintry day you'd expect in February. Cloudy, damp, foggy. A lot of these big city people have probably come here to meet Mrs. Butterworth or Aunt Jemima. Mrs. Butterworth and Aunt Jemima are not here.
They're boiling down the sap here.
Those fictitious ladies don't have any real maple. They're corn syrup.
This is all maple syrup evaporation. Can you smell it?
This is the real stuff. The stuff that comes from the stuff that comes from trees.
It takes so much cooking to evaporate the water to where you concentrate it and you get syrup.
It'd be a lot easier to just pop the top on a Mrs. Butterworth's.
40 gallons of sap makes 1 gallon of the syrup.
That's a lot of boiling down.
It is a lot of boiling down. But look how pretty it looks.
I mean, people just don't think this comes from Missouri.
Yes, isn't that something? Yeah.
So, while the kids practice putting holes in chunks of trees so that maybe someday they can tap a sugar maple,
I can't really push it.
and while they carry chunks of firewood to keep up the boil,
Good job, guys.
while all that's going on, the boiling and evaporating and cooking continue.
You see all three chambers in one, and it has it set up.
It's getting darker right there.
Yes. So by the time, at the end of the day, this will be kind of a maple syrupy color.
And it all ends here. This is the payoff. They call this sugar on snow.
But since we don't have snow today, we poured on shaved ice that we just shaved up in the...
Here's the recipe. Hot maple syrup, all boiled down. Pour it in some snow. Stick a toothpick in. The syrup hardens into maple heaven.
Do you like taffy? You want to take that?
That's good.
But after that sweet payoff, here's the real payoff.
Have you ever had sugar on snow?
My daughter went to the University of Vermont, so we used to go up there. So
But did you ever think...
never in Missouri did we have sugar on snow.
This is maple syrup. That's
What will those Missourians think of next? For HEC-TV, I'm Aaron Mermelstein.
La 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 la.